Hello and welcome back to Off Script with myself, Hannah Bowman, and we have survived our very first commitment ceremony, everyone, and I think it was perhaps the craziest one I've ever seen in MAFS history. Is that dramatic to say? I don't know, but it is a dramatic show. But before we get into any of the commitment ceremony stuff, the elephant in the room that we need to talk about is the rumoured pregnancy that we were talking about a few episodes ago has been confirmed. So Brooke is obviously a main character at the moment, and she's just solidified herself with the absolute main character energy by doing this article with Women's Day. So I'm going to just do a little bit of a read. So she says, "It honestly feels like everything has fallen into place," Brooke exclusively tells Women's Day. "This is everything I've always wanted, blah, 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 boring, boring, boring." So she's back with her partner Harry, who is 28, and they reunited about 2 weeks after she finished filming MAFS. So obviously Chris and her don't end up together, and they're saying in this article that their relationship ended after it imploded in the second week due to an off-screen incident. Now, I've heard a lot about an off-screen incident that happened in Bondi with all of the cast. I'm not going to get into it yet, but I'm sure we'll talk about it soon. So I'm thinking that might be the same night that this incident happened. Harry is a builder on the Gold Coast, and the thing that I find interesting is that she had talked about all of her exes cheating on her, but now she's maintaining that Harry didn't. Like, he wasn't the one I was talking about, which is interesting because her entire narrative that they paint of her on MAFS is that all of her exes cheat on her. So that's a little bit confusing. In the article, she goes on to say that he invited her to the Maldives when they first got back together, and they had an amazing time and obviously decided that they wanted to be together. So they found out that they were pregnant in November, and then he proposed to her over Christmas because she's not just pregnant, she's also engaged. But the main thing that she's insisting is that she never was in contact with him during the experiment, which I find kind of hard to believe because I remember in her audition tape, they were like, "When did you break up with your last ex?" And she was like, "Oh, like 2 weeks ago." Was that her? Can someone confirm or deny in the comments below? But I'm pretty sure it was her that was like, "Oh, 2 weeks ago, ha ha ha." And then to get with your ex 2 weeks after, it feels like that must be the same guy. So yeah, we'll have to see what Chris thinks about this all and how it plays out on screen. But I think the interesting thing to note here is Channel 9 hates when the stories of how things end up get out before the show does. So the fact that they have Brooke and Chris still on the show, but then she's in Women's Day doing this type of big spread with the photo shoot and everything really doesn't feel like something that Channel 9 would usually be into. So I'm wondering, has she broken her contract and gone and done these things, or has Channel 9 decided this year's cast is just so out of control, we're going to lean in and kind of support them through the press that they want to do because we're not going to be able to conceal this story anyway? Is it in response to the fact that rumours about her pregnancy had been swirling already and, you know, if people think she's pregnant and then she's being papped, you know, all of that stuff, like what came first, chicken or egg, if you get what I'm saying. But aside from that, I thought the commitment ceremony was very entertaining, very kind of hectic. We obviously had Steve and Rebecca, and she showed a very vulnerable side while he was just kind of bullshitting through all the questions. I might add, Steve is a terrible liar. Like, if you don't like her, just say you don't like her. I think being like, I'm a bit more conservative, I'd like to take things slow, is not the right way to go about it when you're clearly just not interested. I know Josh on the MAFS Funny podcast did a post on his Instagram about kind of the fact that maybe Steve's into younger women, so maybe that has something to do with it. But yeah, I felt really sorry for Rebecca because she seems very genuine. Similar with Julia and Grayson, I just feel like they have such a platonic energy, and I love Julia. Like, I think she's great. But her being like, we're just taking it slow, I think like you're either into each other or you're not. So I want them to kind of figure each other out. David and Alyssa, I'm loving. I think they're actually really well suited. And I think her kind of rivalry with Gia and Brooke and everyone else is quite interesting. Like, it feels like something else might have happened with them off screen as well. So I'm not sure, but I like that Alyssa's kind of standing up for herself a bit. And speaking of standing up for yourself, I am obsessed with Stella and the fact that she just called out the other women and was like, sorry, we're doing this to find love and like we're doing this as a group. Can you please support me? And obviously we just saw the continued evolution of Brooke's villain status, which pregnancy hormones, who knows? But yeah, I even felt like Chris was feeling uncomfortable when she was doing all the little snide remarks under her breath and stuff, which for Chris to be the one feeling uncomfortable is pretty interesting. It says a lot. But yeah, I thought that Stella was really strong and I thought that Philip supported her really well. And I genuinely really like her and I hope that they stay together and I hope that they're kind of like an example to others that it can work and not to let the drama and like playing up to the cameras and everything become the whole point of the show, because I think we've obviously forgotten about that the last couple of years. And the other ones that obviously just shocked me so much were Mel and Luke. Obviously Luke crying was a real tug on the heartstrings. Again, I'm ready to move to the farm at any point, Luke. But Mel's face the whole time, I just can't tell if she's putting on an act or not. And the fact that she said leave and he said stay, like, is he kicking himself just going, mate, if you'd just said leave, we could have both left? Because I reckon he thought that she was going to say stay, because I think that he perceives her as the type of girl that would want to stay on the show for the longevity of the screen time. And I think he said stay just to kind of go along with it. And the fact that she said leave, but then he's the one that's kept them in the experiment, will be really interesting to see how that plays out in the coming week and if they, you know, make it another week after that. But for now, everyone's decided to stay and yeah, God, we've got a mixed bag, don't we? And it will be so interesting to see how Brooke and Chris and if they're the first couple to leave, because we know that they're going to leave. So yeah, I think we've got Intimacy Week coming up. So we'll see how all the couples do in that. And honestly, you've just got to keep coming back for these episodes because every day there's like a new hit of drama happening. And I can hardly keep up with it, but I'm sure you can't keep up with it. So I'm here to deliver that news to you, this very important Married at First Sight world that we live in. You know, it's obviously so important that we are discussing these things. And I know people think I'm crazy that I even care, but it is bloody enjoyable to watch.